Good morning, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I want to talk to you about stage 5 in the conscious evolution in sexuality. And I want you to know that this is a bit different. So let's say all of the stages before now, we've been taking little steps. And this step is a big step, I believe. So I know a lot of people in our society and around us, and maybe ourselves, um, are comfortable in the first 4 stages of this conscious evolution. Now, this conscious evolution in sexuality, again, remember, sexuality is just one area of all of our areas of life that we are evolving in regularly. So, this step, I want to make sure that you first understand that we are often very aware of 3 stages of consciousness in general. So, one is the sleep stage, one is the dreaming stage, and one is the waking stage. And I don't know if you know, but our physiology changes in all of those. So, our physiology is different when we're sleeping versus when we're waking. So, when we're sleeping, we don't really need to be sending blood to our big muscles in terms of like arms and legs because we don't need to be moving about. So, not as much energy is being thrown out to the arms and legs, for example. There might be a little bit more energy to decreasing our breathing. So our respiration changes. And most people know that when you're in waking stage, and certainly if you're working out in waking stage, you're going to have a higher heart rate, you're going to breathe a little bit heavier. So that's different than when you're sleeping. So there's that slower breathing that's happening usually at night. And there's definitely a different physiology for even the heart rate. So everything changes. In dreaming stage, things are different too in physiology. And most people know that the brain waves change for waking versus sleeping versus dreaming. So when people have gone for sleep studies, they know this and they learn about, oh, you're spending this much time in dreaming and this much time in sleeping, right? So we know those sorts of things. Well, this stage of evolution, the stage 5 that we're looking at now, is the stage, the birth of the seeker. And the seeker in this stage is a very different experience than those other 3 stages. So they talk about this being like the 4th stage of consciousness. Now, this 4th stage, again, some people never achieve or even desire to achieve and don't need to achieve. And some people want to achieve or are guided to this expansion of consciousness. So the quotation that I've got today is by Rumi. And this Rumi quote says, "A seeker of truth looks beyond the apparent and contemplates the hidden. A seeker of truth looks beyond the apparent and contemplates the hidden." So what is happening in this stage? Suddenly, when someone is moving towards this stage, you start recognizing little things and coincidences or serendipities that start happening. This is such an exciting time. So you might notice that, wow, you were thinking of someone yesterday and they're calling today, but that person you haven't seen for many years. So this is kind of a coincidence, people would say, right? But I don't believe in coincidences, so I'll say it's serendipity and or a miracle that I haven't spoken to this person for so long and I was just thinking about them and they've called. Now, this can happen in so many different things that, I've always wanted to do this and I suddenly got a job offer for this. So this is one of those miracles that can happen in the seeker stage. The other thing that can happen in the seeker stage in sexuality is, oh my God, I can't believe my partner suggested we do this. And it's so exciting. I've never told them, but somehow we've both been thinking about it. So that's kind of exciting, right? So that's fun. And then the most important detail about this stage is what I feel is recognizing I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. I thought it. I've thought it in the past. I haven't even thought it recently. This might have been like 5 years ago that I thought about this, and suddenly this is happening. So again, it can happen in any area of our lives. It could be meeting that person that gives you the dream job that you've been seeking without even consciously trying to seek it right now. So that sort of idea. In terms of, because I'm focusing on sexuality for this series, I want you to think about what is it that comes up with you and your partner that is so exciting that I didn't even think about this currently or consciously. I know I've thought about it in the past. I know that there was this time where I was thinking about this, and it could be anything, right? It could be, I just wish my partner would look at me more. And suddenly your partner is looking at you more lovingly, right? So this is such a beautiful experience. Maybe there's a touch, maybe there's a hand holding, and you've always done hand holding, and yet it feels so much more special right now. Maybe it's the conversation that is so much more fun. It's like no matter what we talk about, it's just so fun. It's just so much fun to do this. Maybe it's your own personal experience. So if you're on your own, you might think, well, how am I going to get those sorts of experiences? Of course you can. Of course you can, even in sexuality. So you might think that, yeah, I put cream on my arms and legs every day, but when I do now, like my skin is so much more sensitive. It doesn't matter where I'm touching, but I just feel it so much more, right? This is your conscious evolution in sexuality if you're on your own. You might find yourself speaking to yourself in much more loving ways, like, wow, you know what, you did this, you accomplished this, you called this person, or you spoke to this person, or you are holding doors. Maybe you're just feeling good for yourself in terms of, wow, you bought yourself a Christmas present this year and you've never done that before. Little things that you're starting to notice that something is different. Now, again, the biggest detail in this is stepping away from an ego perspective of, yeah, I did it because I can. I can afford that, so I buy myself a Christmas gift. Maybe it's the, yeah, I should have spoken to myself like this years ago. When there's that little edge of ego in there, you're not exactly in the seeker stage. So even when you look at your partner and they're looking at you lovingly, and maybe they've done something wonderful for you, and you say, yeah, well, I did this for them that was wonderful yesterday, so that's why they're doing this. Now that might be the achiever stage, right? And then there's the giver stage where there's that whole, I'm giving, and this feels so good, and you're feeling so awesome in the stage just before this. But it takes just that little bit of contemplation of recognizing there's something else. So there's a truth to this experience that is beyond me. How this happened, I have no idea. Things are coming together in ways that I had no idea. So I know I went through this experience in terms of a home that I moved into. And in this stage, it was so incredible how all these details for getting to that home were falling in place without a conscious ability to do it on my own. There was something, so myself, my partner, we would not have been able to achieve that achievement without something else also helping. So some people will think of this again as God. Some people think of it as the universe. Some people will think of it as God force working through them. Some people think of it as just coincidental. Whichever way you think of it, if you realize that there's something kind of magical that's happening, that's putting things together for you, that is the stage of the seeker, where it's beyond the self, that there's something more to this. And you don't have to understand what is it? What is it? When the mind gets stuck into what is it, you'll realize it's coming through me. Whatever is happening, I'm able to do the things that I would like to do to achieve the things that I've only dreamt of, right? This is so wonderful. So whether it's the communication you have with friends or loved ones are so much more special. How is that happening? It's, the ego would like to say, well, they finally smartened up and they're speaking better. And then the other ego aspect would be, finally, I'm good enough for them to accept me, right? So that's again the lesser than ego or the better than ego. And when there's just the something magical is happening, it's just so good. I just feel so good that something is happening that is making this really good. That's the seeker stage. Now, what can you do in your relationship for the conscious evolution in sexuality for this stage? One of the things that you can do is start appreciating. Start appreciating your partner. Start recognizing that even if something is coming from outside of both of you, there is something that's coming through your partner through this time too. So one of the exercises that some of you might know, but I'm going to share with you, is the exercise of gazing. So gazing is to be able to look at another person, sometimes another thing, and really recognize the essence of that. So if you look at a flower that's growing or a plant that's growing in your house and you look at it and truly appreciate that, it's so magical. I don't have to do anything. I'm watering, I'm caring for it, I'm speaking to it, I'm loving it, but it's not because of me. If this plant was not going to grow, even with all of those efforts, it might not have grown, and yet it is growing. And so, this relationship, when you're with your relationship and you're able to look at them with that awareness of something magical coming through them that is then affecting you, and able to connect with that experience, that's their essence, that you're also recognizing. It's not what they do, it's not what they say, it's there's something extra in this, right? So, again, even when you have that really special hand holding experience and recognizing something special, something different is happening here. So you think, okay, so how is this going to be fun sexually? Well, it sure is, because when you're at that level of sensitivity, everything feels better. Everything feels better. And I got to make sure that you know this, because I'm hoping that you will notice whether you are having these experiences and try to create these experiences, because this is your creation. You are working with something else working through you for your creation of your excitement in this life. And in this life, sexuality is part of it. And if you're in the space of, I'm ready to really connect and get that spark with my partner, you'll be able to find it. Start with the eyes. It's an easy place for you to sit. Take 5 minutes to look into your partner's eyes and connect with the essence of them. So that is going to be a wonderful, wonderful experience for so many people. If what happens here, this is somewhat conditional, right? What if your partner does not want to be there? What if they're like, I don't like looking at this? Is 5 minutes that we're doing for looking into each other's eyes. Yeah, it was really nice, the first 3 times, but it doesn't excite me. So, how about touching their arm? How about touching their shoulder? How about lovingly expressing yourself, knowing that something different is coming through you for your positive experiences? You do not depend on the other person for that. Now, in this stage, there will be a lot of people that go into a space of, I just can't connect with my partner. They're not looking at things this way. So this is often the stage where couples will kind of differ. In one person might be moving into maybe a spiritual recognition and appreciation for something special is coming through me and you, and this feels great. And the other person is in the space of, no, this is all coincidence, or we did all the right things and that's why this is happening. And in that, there can be a little bit of disharmony that can arise. Sometimes it's literally even noticing that you're looking in different directions for life moving forward, that it's not the wrong direction that another person is looking in, and it's not the right direction that you're looking in. So in that awareness, but it's also about knowing your truth. So this is a big step, that if you can know your truth, this is a huge benefit to this time. Now, in your truth, is it important for your partner to be aware of your truth? No, they can't be aware of your truth. You will be aware of your truth, and you will also know what kind of experiences you would like to create, whether together or separately. So again, this is a very important time. So again, if a person is thinking that I can do this separately and feel completely content, that I'm recognizing something special is coming through me or us, or this is wonderful, that's beautiful. You'll stay in that beautiful space. You don't need the other person to be in the same space. But if you cannot be there, or if the other person cannot handle you bringing up that, it's not just you and me, there's something else, and the other person says, it's more black and white than that, don't try to make it more than what it is, this can create some disharmony. So again, this is that whole intention of, can we share the mutual respect for each other, even if we're different, to enjoy this time together. Then you can have great sex. So, in that time, this is a wonderful experience of recognizing that, you know what, something magical is happening. And each person is saying, I don't mind how the other person is looking at this. This is how I look at this, and that's fine for me. That's wonderful because you will connect and feel things at a completely different level with even just one person being in that space. If you are not able to feel comfortable of there is more discord than happiness in that connection. There's more excitement about something beyond that relationship that's in your mind or their mind. You will find that that truth will come out in this time too. So I want you today to anticipate the best, to hope for the best, to start with this is what I know is my truth. And if it is your truth, that something more is coming through me that I know is beyond just me. How is it that I suddenly know exactly where to touch my partner that really thrills them? How did I know that? I've touched that spot so many times. I've touched their shoulder, I've touched their lower back, I've touched their waist. There is something different about the energy that I'm sending this partner right now, and they're feeling it. And when you're recognizing that intention, that energy is beyond what you could do on your own, you're in the seeker space. So I hope that you will spend at least 5 minutes, maybe gazing at your partner or with your partner. And if you're on your own, I want you to make sure that you can think and feel and be aware of different thoughts in your own mind in different ways that you can touch yourself to recognize that that sensation is different. It's more pronounced, it's more beautiful. There's something beyond you that you're feeling. That's what I wish for you today. Take 5 minutes to do it. And I hope you have a fantastic time. And remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.